You do have tensions between the US and Iran that have escalated as Washington also positions military forces in West Asia. And you do have over 50, there are about F-35 and F-22 fighter jets that have been deployed while the USS Gerald also, the strike group is inbound to the Persian Gulf as well. Now, other than that, you do have additional naval and air assets that are on standby at this point in time, signaling that the US is prepared for rapid action, and that's sending crude prices also soaring. You've seen quite the jump coming in the last 3 days on the back of that, on the back of geopolitical risk premium as well. Other than that, what you're looking at in terms of leaders talking about it is that Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk has also urged all Polish citizens in Iran to leave immediately, citing the threat of conflict. So that's something that you're looking at. In terms of this entire conflict situation that's evolving right now between Tehran and Washington, but let's also talk to you about the commentary coming in this morning, because you do have US President Trump, who's emphasized that military action remains on the table unless Iran shows willingness to negotiate as well. Let's go across and listen in to what exactly he then had to say.
We're either make a deal or we're going to get a deal one way or the other. We're either going to get a deal or it's going to be unfortunate for them.
And we said straight 10 days. Give them a deadline. Firm to make a deal?
I would think that would be enough time, 10, 15 days, pretty much maximum.
All right then, so really bad things will happen if there's no Iran deal, and that's the word coming in from the US president as well. And he's saying that they're going to get a deal one way or another. The timeline that he's putting to it is roughly about 10 to 15 days. But of course, it's the geopolitical risk premium that is reflecting very sharply when you talk about oil prices. In fact, Jonathan Barrett, who's a CIO at ETO Markets, joins us right now. Thank you so much for taking time out this morning, at least for us. It's a very interesting morning that we're looking at on the back of that spike that we've seen in the last 3 days. But, also today, the kind of situation that we're seeing unfold when it comes to crude prices, quite a lot of cues that we're picking up from Tehran and Washington.
Yes, look, good morning. There's certainly a lot of activity happening, a lot of volatility. Prices, in my mind, are factoring a lot of risk premium, particularly because Iran has issued the fact that they were happy to close the Straits of Hormuz. And if that's the case, then 30 to 35% of seaborne oil is shut down. So if we come to the end of the period that the US has given and we don't see any sort of relief in terms of negotiations, then oil prices can go substantially higher.
Absolutely, and what kind of timeline are you looking at in terms of oil prices also trading higher from here on? Do you think that the geopolitical risk premium at this point in time, is it perfectly baked in the pie, or are you looking at more potential when it comes to that? And the number two thing is whether or not you're going to be, what do you expect in the next 1 week or so? Because given the kind of developments we have, it's very important to watch out, at least for the next 1 week, what really unfolds here.
Absolutely. Look, I think the US will be applying as much pressure as possible. We've already seen some deployment of some air defences, and as a result of that, then the market is quite concerned. The US will apply a lot of pressure, then hopefully they will back down. So whilst the pressure is there, prices will go up. There is potential for it to raise prices, Brent, to go up to US 75 at a minimum. But whilst this pressure is there, prices will remain very well bid in the market. Remember, the US is trying to restructure the global supply of oil away from Russia, and they'll do anything in their means to be able to concentrate supply from the US. So it is a bit of a tactic. But at the end of the day, in the short term, I do think that prices will remain relatively well bid.
No, absolutely, and very quickly before we let you go, I was actually just going to come to the bit about, power tactic, because that's a little bit of pressure that they're ramping up right now when it comes to Tehran. But what are you expecting, when it comes to the near term? Do you think that Tehran is what's going to be unfolding here, not just in terms of the next 7 days? Do you think that this would possibly tilt this in favor of crude prices, sort of get them out of that slump that we've seen of late and get a trajectory going as far as prices are concerned?
Well, I think Tehran in itself, I think the US would not apply the pressure if they don't have the intel to suggest that they will win. The problem is how Tehran and Iran sort of will face how they'll politicise the issue, and they're just playing into a bluff. In my mind, we've already seen Iran sort of react to the nuclear issues that are there, and I think Iran will eventually play ball. But I do think there's enough intel there to suggest that the US will play hardball. A deal will be done, but it's the lead up to that deal. So it's more of a buy the rumour, sell the fact in terms of where oil prices will go. So it's really up to Tehran, because I know what the US want out of it.
Absolutely, and that is one way to play hardball right now. Look at the kind of commentary that we're getting in this morning when it comes to Washington. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us this morning, helping us understand what it's going to look like for the next 7 days, but also, just for the next few days, what's going to look like when it comes to the entire Washington piece of the picture, where they've really upped the volume when it comes to the threats, really building up pressure right now on Tehran. But with that in